Yeah.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to Ala's World of Finance and welcome to Stock Market Daily. I hope you're all having a fantastic Saturday, enjoying your weekend, but we've got some things to talk about, guys. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, some of the things that we're going to be talking about today include BlackBerry, because BlackBerry is actually down over 13% for the day. That is insane, guys. In just one day, they're down massively. Now, before you ask me and leave comments about it, yes, I'm invested in BlackBerry. Don't rub it in, guys. Stock has dropped, but we're going to talk about the reasons why I was initially invested in BlackBerry in the first place. And we're going to talk about why it dropped. And we will also talk about how I feel about it afterwards. And we're also going to talk about NCR, which is a stock that I don't really know much about, but Barron's basically thinks that it's going to rise soon. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. And we're going to talk a little bit about the market. So let's just go ahead and get started. Now, when looking at the market, the NASDAQ was actually up 0.045% on Friday, and they're up 1.8% for the entire week, which is really good because the NASDAQ is actually really tech heavy. And well, tech stocks are actually my favorite stocks, to be honest, but not just because of that. But it's also a good thing just because there was a lot of concern with the whole tech sell-off and stuff like that, but they've had a nice little bounce back, so that's good. And the S&P 500 was up 0.15% on Friday, and they are up 0.2% for the week. And then the Dow Jones is pretty much flat, so for the day and for the week. Okay, so where should we move to next? Okay, let's go ahead and start with NCR. So when looking at NCR, their business revolves around software systems that help manage inventory, which help chains ship online orders from stores. So in other words, they help with online shopping and things like that with retail stores and all that kind of stuff. Well, Barron's is calling them a rising software star with a discounted valuation of a legacy hardware player. So they're basically saying that they're like undervalued and that you could basically get them at a discount right now. And a lot of this has to do with the whole acquisition of Whole Foods by Amazon. And I don't know if you guys actually saw this, but JP Morgan actually had a list of stocks that may benefit from the whole acquisition. And I believe NCR was like at the top of the list. I think another one was Shopify that was high up there. And Shopify is pretty similar to NCR. Now, NCR is also involved with like self-automated checkout registers and things like that, but they mostly consider themselves a software company. And so they mostly work on software and help with online shopping and stuff like that. Well, Barron's is basically saying that their stock may rise 30% as Amazon's pending takeover of Whole Foods will set off a digital arms race among grocers. And I was looking at what the CEO of NCR had to say about the whole acquisition of Amazon of Whole Foods. And he was basically saying that this is like the greatest news that could be for them because it not only shows that you still need a physical store location, which they obviously play a role in with their self-automated checkouts and things like that, but since they're mostly a software company and they are trying to focus on online shopping, they were saying how this really shows that a lot of retail stores really need to step up their game in online shopping. And they think that they have all the tools to help all of these retail stores and companies get into online shopping and to expand their online shopping presence and all that kind of stuff. So they think that they will really benefit from that. And a lot of analysts are already increasing EPS estimates, revenue estimates. You could look it up, but they're increasing it. And so a lot of people are actually expecting NCR to do well. Now, their stock had actually taken, I believe they had like a 2-year decline, then they kind of started coming back up, but their stock is down year to date because one of their biggest investors actually announced that they are selling half of their shares. So that kind of made their stock kind of go down a little bit. But now with the whole Amazon news, they're expected to do very well. I don't know if they will go up, 30%. That's obviously seems like a lot, but I'd have to do a detailed analysis of them. So if you guys want a detailed video on NCR, just let me know. I'd be more than happy to do it, and I can go really in depth into NCR. I plan on researching them more anyway, so I don't really mind making a video if you guys want it. Now their 52-week low was at $25.20, 52-week high was at $49.90, and currently they're at $38.64, so a little under their 52-week high. And on Friday, they were up 0.23%. In the past week, down 3.83%. Past month, down 4.71%. And then in the past 3 months, down 10.24%. So are they undervalued? Maybe, but I'd have to do a lot more research on them. Obviously, I'm a long-term investor. I'd have to research them more. Okay, so moving on to BlackBerry. Now, BlackBerry, why was I invested in it? Why was it going up? What's the story with BlackBerry? Well, For the year, they're up 61%, and that's going into Thursday's close. So they've been doing very well, and their stock dropped on Friday, obviously. Now, why were they doing so well? Well, they were transitioning into mobile security, and they were providing communication software. They were also heavily involved in automobile software, and there was a lot of expected growth in India. Now they also had the settlement with Qualcomm, which basically Qualcomm ended up paying them. I have the number here, $940 million. And so they were expected to use that money to make some acquisitions and to help expand what they were already doing. And some of their products, they had cybersecurity shields, and they were also involved with the QNX automobile platform. And they had also announced previously that they were going to spend $75 million on a self-driving car hub, basically developing a self-driving car hub over the next few years. So they were actually involved in autonomous driving and stuff like that too, and they have shown a large interest in getting into that market. So basically, mobile security software, communication software, autonomous driving software. So a lot of different things that they've been wanting to do. And the whole Qualcomm settlement will basically help them get into those markets. And they have expected growth in India. So all of these reasons just kind of added up, and it really helped the stock just take off. And so their stock had actually been doing very well. And obviously 61% up for the year going into Thursday. Well, on Friday, they basically reported their earnings for the quarter, and their stock just took a huge hit. So let's look at it. So why did their stock drop? Well, when looking at their software adjusted sales, they reported $169 million. Year over year, that's up 2%. So not bad, right? But well, it's not that much though, but versus expectations, that was about $15 million less. So that actually hurt them. Orders from customers was at 3,000 versus the previous quarter, it was at 3,500. So they're basically down 500 total orders from customers in that category. Now, hardware revenue is also down 76%, but I couldn't find an exact figure as to what that percentage is relating to. So I don't know too much about that, but you don't really have to worry about that too much because they're transitioning from hardware anyway. So I was expecting hardware revenue to drop anyways, and they're moving more into obviously mobile securities and software and things like that. Now, revenue was at $235 million. The previous year, it was $400 million, so obviously it's down. And expectations were at around $264 million, so missing expectations by around $30 million. So that's definitely not good. So revenue also hurt them a lot. Now, when looking at net income, it was at $671 million. And in the previous year, so same quarter previous year, they had negative $670 million. Okay, so basically they were up a lot, right? So they basically made a huge improvement there. Well, you have to factor in the fact that Qualcomm paid them $940 million. So if you take out the Qualcomm settlement, their free cash, basically their free cash flow is actually negative. It would actually be negative. So that's kind of a big deal. So that's another reason why their stock took a hit. And their cash, okay, so now their cash balance is at $2.6 billion. Well, their CEO was talking about how they plan on using all of this money to make some acquisitions. Okay, so and basically after the earnings call, he even clarified further that they have some big plans to make some acquisitions. And they're saying that they expect the free cash flow to be positive for the year. So even though it's technically negative, if you don't count the Qualcomm settlement, it would technically be negative, but they expect it to be positive for the year, not counting the Qualcomm settlement. So they do expect things to improve in the later half of the year. Okay, so that's basically what BlackBerry was saying, that they didn't expect it to be great right now, but they expect it to be better throughout the year. And they are planning on making some huge acquisitions that are going to help them expand. And they mentioned that they want to expand in autonomous driving. On Friday, they mentioned this. So they want to expand into autonomous driving, and they want to do more stuff with mobile security software, and they consider themselves one of the leaders already. And so they want to build on that and continue to grow on that. Okay, so there are some potentials for some good things to happen. And then they also announced that they're going to be buying back some shares. I generally like it when companies announce that they're going to be buying back shares, but some people don't, because some people think that the money could be better well spent, things like that. But generally, every case is different, but usually I like it when they buy back some shares. It just kind of makes me feel a little more confident as an investor. Now, I didn't have a lot of money invested in BlackBerry. I had, just a couple hundred or whatever, but and it wasn't money that I needed, so it's kind of fine. I'm not like panicking out of my BlackBerry stock. I'm just gonna kind of wait. But that isn't to say that BlackBerry, isn't seeing some negative stuff here and that they could continue to drop. A lot of analysts are actually turning very bearish on BlackBerry right now. So we could see the stock continue to dip. It may be a good time to sell. It might be a good idea to get out. They've still had some profits for the year. So if you've actually made a lot of profits, a lot of investors are just kind of cashing out those profits and jumping ship. And obviously the stock dipped quite a bit. So when looking at their stock, their 52-week low was at $6.23, 52-week high was at $11.74, and currently they're at $9.62. And on Friday they dipped more than 13%, so 13.02%, which is very significant. For the past week, down 9.25%, past month down 13.8%, but the past 3 months up 38.02%, and in the past 1 year, up 44.66%. So like I said, some investors are just kind of cashing in their profits and they're saying, well, these numbers are kind of scary and we don't really like what's going on. And so they're just kind of jumping ship. I don't care too much. I'm a long-term investor anyway, so I kind of just wait until the future. And I think that they will still have some potential if they make some acquisitions. There's a lot of talks too about BlackBerry being bought out. Now, as they transition more from hardware, more into software and stuff like that, they're making themselves a more attractive candidate to being bought out by someone else, being acquired by another company. So there's still a lot of things that could happen with BlackBerry. So how do I feel about it? I'm kind of neutral. It's not a big deal to me. It's not one of my biggest stocks. I'd be scared if it was one of my biggest stocks, but I would be more careful than to. BlackBerry is a little bit more of a risky stock. I'd be way more careful than to put all of my money into BlackBerry or something like that. My bigger stocks are, Nintendo and safer stocks like that. But well, I'm heavy on AMD, and a lot of people consider AMD risky, but I like AMD. So anyway, that's pretty much all I got for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching. If you're new, please subscribe. If you like the video, hit the like button. And if you watched the video all the way through to this very point in time, then you are, well, you're not BlackBerry, because BlackBerry came out pretty weak here, but you're more like NCR. Maybe you're undervalued. I definitely appreciate you though. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope that you all have a wonderful, beautiful day. Take care.